The American Republican Party is bankrupt. It doesn't have any policy. It's everything about it that you see from its history, from how it's voted, what they're doing, what they're saying here. They're not about democracy. They've proved it to you over and over again. They're about fascism, corporate dictatorship, corporations being more important than you and your kids. Just look what they do. Look what they vote for. Look at Trump, this vast criminal. He is exactly the Republican Party. Corporate criminal, racist, bigot, destroyer of your rights. And there was Pence, the vice president, a Christian fascist. Wanted to destroy rights for women, not give equal rights to gays throughout society because of religion. Christian, right-wing, dark age religion. It's Republicans that blocked legislation where women would get paid the same as men. Republicans blocked that legislation. Now, ladies, right there, every woman should say, what? Wait a minute. Well, that's the Republican Party. That's what they did. They block raising the minimum wage. Continually. Just look how they vote. Because they side with corporations to poison and pollute you rather than you voting to support you. They don't support you. They support corporate dictatorship, fascism. They vote against anything of legislative environmental sanity. When you're trying to, get in regulations that give you clean air and clean water, Republicans vote against those. Over 90% of the time, Republicans vote against environmental sanity efforts. Clean air, clean water, healthy environments. Republicans vote against it. The Sierra Club keeps a scorecard. You can look it up yourself. All the stuff, you can look it up yourself. And Exxon, let's look at the history right here. Exxon knew climate change was real over 40 years ago. Their own research department, Exxon's own research department, did the study and found that yes, climate change is real. Burning fossil fuels, rising CO2 level, the CO2 levels in the atmosphere, that whole thing. Yep, that's it. They told it. They found it. But look what Exxon did. It didn't turn around and tell you, the public, hey guys, we got to change. This whole thing's going to be a disaster, a climate breakdown because of this fossil fuel crap and all the coal and the whatnot toxins in your environment and the CO2. No, Exxon didn't stand out and do that to you because money, corporate profit was more important than you. And so Exxon turned around and started the campaign of climate change denial. And they've paid off Republicans, the Republican Party, to join in on them. They paid into Fox News so that Fox News idiots would stand in there and the thing and lie to you about denying. They'd say, oh no, climate change, oh geez, no, it's not, no, man. Hey, it's the Republican Party. There's the history. And now, I think you're getting a pretty clear idea climate change is real, coming in. And it's caused by that economic system that said profit was more important. It was the measure of success. So all these toxins and whatnot were the cheap way to go to make a profit. Because it takes more money. It took more money. So it just poisoned you instead. And the Republicans support that. Just look how they vote. They give tax breaks to corporations. During the Bush-Cheney regime of terror, the Bush-Cheney Republicans voted a tax break to corporations if they took their jobs, their corporate, jobs, and moved them overseas, outside of the U.S. Republicans gave them a tax break. And then after the huge collapse in 2008, at that time was the biggest collapse since the Great Depression collapse, Republican economics, the Republicans fought against getting rid of those tax breaks for those corporations who took their jobs, your jobs, and took them overseas. Because money was more important than you. Profit was more important. They could get cheap labor over there. They didn't have to worry about so many environmental issues over there. They could poison and pollute in China, in Malaysia, India. And they could pay people cheap. It was all for profit. The plastics fill up the ocean. The toxins fill up the very air you breathe. Because of that economic system. So when they say climate change, folks, and they say it's caused by human activity, is trying to get around saying it's caused by corporate poison and pollution. That said profit was the measure of success. Cheap, poisonous, okay, but you made a profit. That was the economic system. And that's what Republicans are still supporting. Even to this day, you should know this, Republicans vote against anything environmentally and trying to say, oh no, we're going to get rid of regulations so businesses can go out there and poison and pollute you more, and doggone it, you're going to have a job poisoning and polluting the whole planet. Thank you, your kids will be so happy that you're working and poisoning their future. That's what Republicans are all about. Now look at, Republicans even get in here, these right-wing nuts, and they all getting into even denying the history of slavery in America. Because they go, oh geez, we want to, oh no, it wasn't that bad, oh gosh, no, and you're hearing that from these right-wing nuts like DeSantis and others throughout the South again. Because it's white people, and it's racism. It's white racism that wants to still hold on and say, deny the history, the facts, and justify and hold on to their hatred, their bigotry, and their money of economic superiority. It's back to the money. And then, of course, the Republicans vote against women. Everything from birth control to abortion access. It's the same way Republicans vote against gays getting equal rights throughout society. It's Republicans. Look at January 6th. The Republican Party has still not repudiated Trump for the actions of January 6th. The Republican Party has not officially, openly stated that was completely unconstitutional. It was insurrection, not supported. They haven't done that. And of course, as you know, a lot of Republicans were actually involved in that insurrection. Wasn't just Rudy Giuliani involved in it. It's Josh Hawley, it's Ted Cruz, it's Rand Paul, it's McConnell, McCarthy, it's all of them. They had the chance to the Republican Party had the chance to try and show that it had some, character, some ethics, some concern for democracy. When Trump came up for impeachment in the Senate. But look what happened. The Republicans pushed it aside. They made up an excuse to deny, jump around and not have to really vote on it, make up an excuse against overwhelming evidence. Facts. that Trump should have been convicted in the Senate for insurrection against our democracy. The Republican Party couldn't even do that. It couldn't even say it. It doesn't have any validity. It doesn't have any agenda. It doesn't have anything about our democracy anymore. It is a group that has, by the way it's voted, by the way they have voted, by what they're talking about, and here's Trump leading the pack of these potential Republican hooligans who want to try and be president. The Republican Party is still showing you they're bankrupt. They don't have any economic policy to benefit you. So they can't talk about economics, because their legacy is just tax breaks for the rich, is to give everything to corporations who poison and pollute you. They can't talk about their ethics about democracy and rights and freedoms, because Republicans vote against women. They vote against gays. They sustain bigotry and racism in their legislation. The Republican Party finds ways. Look at the state legislatures right now that are run by Republicans. And every one of them has tried to find ways to block you from voting. Folks, in a democracy, a republic, a democratic republic that we have, your open access to voting is the key for it to be a democracy. But oh no, the Republican Party is coming up with all sorts of ways to try and justify blocking you from voting. You've heard the term gerrymandering districts and whatnot. To lock you out from trying to vote. To close down your access to voting by saying, oh no, the voting polling places, they're only going to be open for a little bit of time. And in the areas where it's Latinos and blacks, only a few polling places available. Because then it forces, long lines of people to wait, to vote, and they can face the time frame that, you're going to get cut out of voting because they'll close the polls. They'll find ways to slip around and say, you need an ID, voting ID, we got... Folks, Republicans made up another lie. They said, there's voter fraud. No, there isn't. Look at the facts. But they don't want to talk about facts. Republicans never want to talk about facts, reality. They want to talk about myth, virtual reality, conspiracy theories, fear, Christian fascism, racism. That's all they want, all they support. That's all they are. They don't have any validity. Look at how they operate, what they've been doing. Look who's in the Republican Party. January 6th insurrection showed you. You invite a party and look who shows up. That's who, thinks part of your party. And here comes these oath keepers, Proud Boys, Nazis, Christian fascists. That's the Republican Party. That's the noise. That's the low-level noise that Fox News and other propaganda agencies want to keep stirring up with hatred and bigotry and lies. So that you won't pay attention that it's the corporations that have poisoned you, destroyed the whole planet, and they know they have. They are guilty. Puerto Rico is suing Big Oil, Exxon, Shell, Chevron, all the big ones, because they colluded together. These big corporations, oil corporations, colluded together